Today is the very first session of JavaScript, and myself, Ashwara Saxena, I will be taking the sessions of JavaScript. And today, as it is the very first session, so it's going to be an introductory session. Okay, I will be just taking an introductory session where I will be giving the introduction to the programming language and all. Then we will start with the practical implementations of JavaScript. So, as you know that when we talk about JavaScript, so first of all, let me clarify that the JavaScript which you know must be the front-end JavaScript. And front-end JavaScript is simply, you can say, used with the HTML, CSS and all. That is front-end JavaScript. And the second type of JavaScript is that is going to be the one which is used for the backend. So the backend JavaScript is different. Backend JavaScript when you are using, so it will be used for the full stack development kind of when you can simply add, you can say database things also. And here when you talk about backend JavaScript, so that will not be able to be implemented directly. For that, you will be requiring to use the Node.js. Okay, Node.js. So I will be telling you about that also. That what is Node.js? Like as the first program of JavaScript we shall create. Simply the same day you will be able to start working with the practical implementations. When we talk about what is a like a language, so language is a medium of communication. The main purpose of using a language is to communicate. Either it is English, Hindi, Urdu, Farsi, Marathi, it is simply going to be a way to communicate with each other. But it comes that when we talk about computer system, so which language does the computer understand? We simply write our codes usually in English, but we are having the different kind of syntaxes of every other programming languages. When we talk about computer system, computer understands only binary language. Binary language, that is the machine language. Machine language is the binary language, and it is having two different codes. That is the binary code. 0, 1 are the two different codes which are used when you are talking about binary language. Okay, computer understands binary language, and whatever we write the code, that is simply in the English with different syntax, either of C, Java, or anything. But we use English language usually to type the code. So when computer understands 0, 1 and we type it in English, so how does the computer understand that particular code which we are typing? Actually, there are some system translators. Okay, there are system translators. Let me tell you what are they. System translators, or you can say translators. System softwares, there are system softwares named as translators, and there are three different types of translators: assembler, compiler, and interpreter. Okay, these are the different types of translators, you can say, which are present. When we talk about assembler, so assembler is basically used for the conversion of assembly language to low level language. Okay, low level means machine language actually. But when we talk about compiler and interpreter, so here you can see that the compiler and interpreter both are actually getting used for the same purpose. Okay, compiler and interpreter both are used for the same purpose, and that is to convert the high level code to machine level code, machine level or low level language, that is simply machine level. So compiler and interpreter both are getting used for the same purpose. So assembler, compiler, and interpreter, there are the three different types of translators. When we talk about assembler, assembler is used for the conversion of the assembly language to low level language, whereas compiler and interpreter both are used for the conversion of high level language to low level language and vice versa. So simply when we talk about compiler and interpreter, compiler is used for converting the whole code at once. And when we talk about interpreter, interpreter actually converts the code line by line, one by one line, then another line will be converted. Let's talk about what are the different types of languages. Like types of languages when we talk about, so there are three different types of languages. This is the very basic classification: low level, middle level, and high level. The low level language is simply the one which is machine dependent, like machine language and assembly language are the only two languages which are kept into the low level language category. Whereas the languages like C++, Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, these all are actually following the object-oriented programming concepts. So the languages which follow the OOPS concepts are actually kept into the high-level language category. C language is the only language which is kept into the middle-level language. So JavaScript is also a high-level language only. First of all, when we talk about C language, you must have studied that it is low level or high level. But actually, it is a middle level language. Now, I will justify that why it is a middle level language. So, first thing, when we talk about the low level languages, all the languages which are kept into the low level category, they are actually very much machine dependent. Whereas when we talk about C language, so C language was created in 1972 at AT&T Bell Labs and by Danish Rishi. And that time, why it was created, actually, you must have heard about the Unix operating system. So while creating the Unix operating system, when the at AT&T Bell Labs, the scientists, the programmers decided to create a new operating system. That time they required a programming language. And then they decided to create a new language, which was C language. So the Unix operating system is developed in C. Now you can understand if a complete operating system is developed in a programming language C, so C language is able to handle the complexities. Different system softwares are also developed in C language only. So C language is simply a language which is able to handle the complexities. So this cannot be kept into the low level category because the low level languages are very much machine dependent and C language is not that much actually. And when we talk about that, why it's not kept into the high level language category, because it does not follow the object oriented programming concepts. When we talk about that, the languages which are kept into the high level language category, they follow the object oriented programming concepts, whereas C language does not follow OOPS concepts. Thus, it is not kept into the high level also. So it is kept in the middle level language category. Okay, so now as you know that our main concern is simply the JavaScript. So I am going to discuss about JavaScript. And as I have told you that when we are talking about JavaScript, it's simply an scripting language. Okay, JavaScript is an scripting language and it is used for the development of front end and back end both. If you talk about the basic JavaScript, which you have studied with the HTML, CSS, they are like that is actually the front end scripting language, and that is used for the validation handling and all. But when we talk about the JavaScript which you are going to learn, that is different. Okay. So the JavaScript which you are going to study, that is going to be handling the backend scripts. Backend scripts will be handled with the help of Node.js. Okay. So JavaScript is, you can say, is quite different than the Java programming. Let me tell you, many people are confused about Java and JavaScript. So you don't get confused about it. When we talk about Java, Java is another programming language and JavaScript is different. It's completely like you can compare car and carpet. So car is different, carpet is different. Similarly, Java is different and JavaScript is different. There are different frameworks of JavaScript like React.js, AngularJS, Vue, Node.js. Any like you can say many are there. There are many. So when we talk about that, how to run JavaScript on the local machine, for that we will be using the Node.js. Okay, Node.js is one framework. Actually, it's an environment, the runtime environment of JavaScript. Okay, so always remember that JavaScript is a lightweighted interpreted language. Okay, JavaScript is interpreted. C++ was compiler based languages. There the compiler was getting used. When we talk about Java, Java was using compiler interpreter both. Python is using compiler interpreter both. But JavaScript is using interpreter mainly. But here is a compiler used for the interpretation. That is a just-in-time compiler. So interpreter it is, but the interpreter which is getting used here, that is a compiler. Like the name is just-in-time compiler, but it is actually an interpreter. Don't get confused, but I am just telling you it is interpreted programming language. Okay. Just-in-time compilation is also known as dynamic translation or runtime compilation. The runtime compilation is simply the interpretation. Okay. So I hope this is getting clear. And the front end back end thing is also, I hope, clear that front end when you are using, so you will be using it another way, and back end you are going to use it another way. Okay, so two, three things I have discussed right now about the JavaScript, that when you talk about JavaScript, it is interpreted language. We will be studying backend mainly, backend JavaScript with Node.js. Okay, and it is a cross-platform language simply. And another thing that it is different from Java. Now, introduction to Node.js, yes, we are going to discuss about it now. Like when we talk about what is Node.js, it is simply a cross-platform open source service, which is a server. Okay, which is a server. It gives an environment, runtime environment for the JavaScript. That means you can run on, like run your JavaScript code on the Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, or any other platform, because Node.js is a cross-platform server. It is a runtime environment. And it is a backend JavaScript runtime environment which runs on the V8 JavaScript engine. There are multiple kind of engines to run the JavaScript. So there are different JS engines. JS engine means JavaScript engines. So there are like V8, Spider Monkey, there are many actually. But we will be working with the Node.js. Okay, Deno, there are many. So we will use Node.js because that is dominating the market. That is the most popular one right now. So definitely we will be using Node. If you are learning this JavaScript with Node right now, so you will be able to step further in the mean stack or MERN stack development. Okay, mean stack or MERN stack. Mean is like, what is mean? Let me tell you these things also, which was necessary somehow to understand. This is mean stack. Okay, sorry, this is MERN stack. MERN stack is MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node.js. So suppose after completing JavaScript, you want to create your career in JavaScript. So you can either go for MERN or mean. MERN is dominating the market. MERN stack is more important these days. Mean is also there. Mean is older than MERN, but still MERN is dominating. So MongoDB, React, Express.js. But you can see this all will be actually having this Node.js. And when you talk about mean stack is also simply having these things only, but only the React is not there, Angular is there. So simply Node.js when you learn, so you can understand mean also and MERN also. Okay, now here I am just coming towards the Node.js Node website. So Node.js.org is the official website of Node.js. You can download this LTS version. Okay, this LTS version you will be downloading. It is the recommended one. Okay, another thing which you will be getting to use, which will be that is code editor. So code editors are many. You can use any. You are free to use either VS Code or Atom, or you can go with the Sublime text. So these are different type of code editors, and maybe you are already using VS Code or Node.